Do you love breakdowns? Do you need stats? Do you crave insight? Download the AllStar app. UFC, Bellator, PFL 1 Championship, and more. Ad-free, fully customizable. Download the best app in the business. Link in descriptions.
With Khabib getting on the mic and then saying that they want the number 1 pound for pound spot.
Yeah.
They said Charles
Yeah.
Oliveira is the number 2 pound for pound. We want the number 1 pound for pound spot. We all know how much that means to them, right? Like it wasn't the belt that Khabib retired on. It was the number 1 pound for pound spot is what he retired on. He wanted that number. So we know how highly that the Khabib and their team prize that number 1 pound for pound spot. They're willing to go to Perth, which is incredible. They'll headline that card. Like I'm so excited for that, for them to call Alex. Like that fight's sold, right? If you get him in the ring, the boys face off, they shake hands, they both agree to it, they both want it. You know, Alex flew over there, he made weight, he showed that how much that this means to him, how much he wants. I feel like he's the clear challenger for that title, and that'll main event the UFC card down in Perth. And for mine, I'm super excited for that. I feel like that is an incredible fight.
I think if they put that fight together, there's still a lot of things to work out, right? There's contracts and, management and deals.
But like, look how much he wants it, right? Like Khabib's pretty much
his manager,
Islam's manager, right? Like, or talks very closely. Like he would have had a plan in his head. Maybe they didn't even share it with Islam. Like that's why Khabib grabbed the microphone and stepped in. And because he was going to sell, like they didn't want to distract Islam with what's next. They don't want to tell him after the fight, after you win the title, get on the microphone. And like they didn't explain that to him. That's probably why Khabib stepped in and took the microphone and called out Alex and got him in the ring. But like they want it, their team want it. Alex wants it. He weighed in. He got in the ring himself. He said he wants it. So I feel like the UFC wouldn't let it get to that point unless behind the scenes this is already somewhat agreed to. That this is probably going to be the outcome. Like you don't see it like that. Like the UFC is not. They don't want to. Like that's how they would. Like if they wanted things like that, and then the fighters didn't want it, like they wouldn't let it get to that point. It's like the same thing with like Israel and Alex Pereira. Like they chuck him cage side straight after the fight. They put a camera on him because Alex Pereira is already behind the scenes, like made a handshake deal with the UFC that if this happens, they're gonna put that fight together. Like it's already agreed. Like imagine if the UFC came and they're like, we'll put you cage side, we'll chuck you on TV, we'll get you in the cage, you shake hands with the main event, we'll get all the fans excited about the fight, but they haven't done any backroom negotiations with you. And then they come to you and they go, hey, Alex, so do you want that fight? And Alex says, yeah, $5 million, I'll do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're giving away their leverage in any kind of contract negotiation. So I feel like this fight has already been like a handshake deal. Contracts aren't obviously signed, but I'm sure that this will be agreed behind the scenes. And I think it's merely like formality that they sign the contracts and get this thing across the line.
Hey, AP management, they're doing their thing, right? I'm just saying.
They're doing their thing. They're doing their thing.
If anybody knows anything, it'd be one of those guys, right? So
I'm sure it would.
Now, what I was gonna say about this fight? Yeah. Like, hey, props to Alex too, man. Like, think of like what he's risking, to attempt this. Like, he's risking a lot. Like a lot of people believe like Islam is unbeatable now, right? Because he beat Charles and what he's been able to do in his last few fights. And he's the pound for pound number 1. He hasn't lost in like 30 years. He's on like a 19-20 fight win streak, right? He's beaten like the GOAT of the featherweight division. He really doesn't have too much to prove, right? Except for go up and risk all of that, right? He's risking his record basically, right? Habib didn't do that. Now people are gonna get mad in the comments. Habib didn't do that. He didn't risk his record, right? He didn't move up, even though he could have, because there was a lot of talk about him moving up and fighting the welterweight champ, right? He didn't do that. Alex is doing that. It just shows you the type of competitor Alex is, right? It's a different mindset. And we go back to TJ. I think TJ is like that mindset as well. You know what I mean? Like Alex will fight. Maybe Alex is a little bit smarter than, going out there with a separated shoulder, but he has Joe, Uncle Joe.
I feel like,
Uncle
I was
Joe,
about to say that. I was like, Uncle Joe's not gonna let him do that.
Nah.
Uncle Joe would tell him he's being a dickhead, and he'd pull him out of the fight.
Exactly. But yeah, what do you think of that, man? Like, it just shows, like, and your teammate did it as well. Your teammate was undefeated. It was the champ. He could have stayed at middleweight and kept fighting and defending the title against, the number one contenders.
It's about setting new goals that excite you, right? Because as soon as you set a goal, I'm going to be world champion. As soon as you accomplish that goal, it's not like you just can sit back and relax. Like, you need to set yourself not only like a new goal, but you need to set yourself a goal that lights that fire in your belly. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I haven't talked with Alex about it, but maybe like fighting, Emma, or fighting someone like that who has there's no one really like screaming number one contender. I want the next shot. I'm next. I'm like going out there battling for it and proving it. Like, maybe none of those guys really light a fire under them. But the double champ status, the pound for pound king, to take the crown of Islam and shatter kind of that era of invincibility, like that lights a fire in his belly, and that excites him, and that's who he wants to be. So it's something, you definitely respect. But that, as a fighter, is like, that's what we do it for. We do it for that fire in your belly. We do it for that level of excitement, that will to accomplish something. You don't just sit there as a fighter like, oh, but this is the safe option. Just defend my belt until I have heaps of money. Like, it's not. It's difficult to get out of bed in the morning with all these injuries and all this training. But when you have that fire in your belly and that excitement, it's very easy to get out of bed, and it's very easy to train hard, and it's very easy to push your body to these extremes. And I feel like it's an incredible fight as well. Who have we seen go out there and out wrestle Volk? You know what I mean? He's probably one of the. How many times has Volk been taken down in the UFC? You could probably count it on one hand. I doubt it's many times. He's a very difficult guy. He's so close to the ground. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, jump on his legs? Like, he's like, Islam can say what he wants. Like, he's short. Like, he's an incredible striker. And you can say like he's short all you want, but like that, someone short is difficult to take down. Like, that's just a fact. Like, a long, taller guy, you grab a hold of their legs, like, they're easier to drag to the floor than someone that who's that close to the ground and that thick and that solid. And then when they got in the cage and they stood face to face, like, they didn't look. It wasn't like,
it wasn't like, it wasn't
surely
like,
didn't look like that.
Yeah, it wasn't even like, like how Sean was standing next to Peter Yan. Like, they looked like completely different weight classes. Like, when Volk stood, that there was a height difference, but other than that, Volk is he's a thick,
you couldn't
big-headed dude.
Yeah, you couldn't say like, oh, well, that's Volk out of camp. He made weight the day before. He weighed in the day before. They like, that's just him. He's actually quite a thick guy. He's quite a big guy for even the lightweight division. So for that fight, man, I'm gonna be there. Whether I'm fighting on the card or whether I'm just there, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna be there too. I think that's like one of the biggest fights that you could go to, right? Especially in Australia, like in Perth.
Yeah.
It's gonna be pretty insane. I'm gonna have to fly over there, how long it takes to get down there. But yeah, it's incredible that like the UFC is supporting him after like not really supporting him. You know what I mean? Like, for a while, like they really did it support him like they're doing now. It's like it's weird how they switched their tune with Alex after beating Max Holloway 3 times and then getting that pound for pound stat, and now it's like, oh, we have no choice. We have no choice now. We have to promote this dude because he's in the record books. Like we have to do it, and Islam, he's up for
that's
it.
our
It's all good.
sport. You don't like nothing in this is given to you. Like nothing in combat sports, nothing in the UFC and in MMA is given to you. Like everything you have to take. You have to take other people's height. You have to take other people's records. You have to take other people's momentum, and you take it for yourself. And that's what Alex has done to the point where everyone changed their tune. He just continued to focus on himself, stay just mentally believed in himself to the point where everyone had no choice but to like shift their perception of him.
It's I'm not gonna sit here and lie to everybody saying like Volk is the favorite. No, he's not the favorite. He's the underdog in his fight. He's going up a weight class. You know what I mean? He's fighting Islam. Islam is the best lightweight in the world now. You know what I mean? Like it's a tall task. Like Islam is the favorite. You know what I mean? You know what Islam's gonna want to do. And you know what Volk's gonna want to do. Volk's gonna want to defend the wrestling, defend the takedowns, and then play this fight on the feet. And if that plays out on the feet, Volk is one of the most technical guys with power, and we haven't seen him with the 155 amount of power, right? We've seen him fight at welterweight, we've seen him fight at middleweight, but this was a long time ago. I wonder how he's gonna look with the technical aspect and that power with the weight on him. You know what I mean? Maybe he's much better. Maybe he's much more powerful, and you could just spark somebody with one punch instead of accumulating damage over, over rounds and rounds and rounds. We don't know, right? But we're gonna find out though. We're gonna find the fuck out.
That's very cool. It's very cool, and that we're gonna find it out. We're gonna find it out very soon. I feel like I guess like from a fan's perspective, like that was the main concern of Makhachev winning the title was going to be his activity, because him throughout his career has not been like the most active guy. But for him to put his hand up straight away and to say, I'm willing to fly to his home country, I'm willing to travel, I'm willing to fly, I'm willing to cut that weight again, and to stay active. That's a good sign. That's a good sign for Makhachev as a champion, that he wants to stay active.
Do you think they could, because this is a massive fight, right? Do you think they might have to change the venue? Could they put it into a bigger spot? They'd have to really think
I'm
about
not sure
that, right?
about, because they've been trying to lock Perth in for just in years. They've been trying to make this event go down for the longest period of time. So I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about the stadiums on that side or in Perth. I would have to go away and look at that.